So you guys are well aware that my whole purpose here on this channel is to be open and honest, to be vulnerable, to be totally real and transparent about what's going on in my life and sobriety, so I can, of course, help myself and also help anyone out there who may be struggling, or just help anyone watching that might be interested on what it's like to be sober. And that means that I gotta come clean when I'm slipping as well as succeeding. And so that's what we're going to do here today.
I'm JT. I'm in my mid-30s, have a 10-year media career, and nearly a decade of sobriety. So how did another middle-class kid turn into a blackout drunk and a heroin junkie? More importantly, how did it change, and where do we go from here? This is my story.
So first off, right out of the gates, I'm still sober. I haven't slipped in that way. I'm still on the wagon. I'm healthy. I'm happy for the most part in relative terms. I'm happy to be sober. I don't see anything changing with that anytime soon. But the reason that I want to be so honest about this stuff is, number one, it has affected this channel. I haven't done a video in a few weeks here, and the ones I have been doing have been fewer and further between. And I know I just did a video kind of checking in on what I'm doing right and doing wrong, but since the filming of that video, I've had some experiences that have made me realize maybe I'm not doing as well on those things as I thought I was. So to illustrate this whole thing, I'm going to take you back to last weekend, just kind of describe to you what the weekend is like, and just keep in mind what I'm normally telling you that I'm doing with my time to stay productive, to stay sober, to stay healthy, and then what this weekend looked like versus what I'm usually telling you that I'm doing. So last weekend, I get home on a Friday, and I do my big cheat meal because I look forward to it all week, and I'm just totally exhausted. And to be honest with you, that's pretty much what my Fridays have been like through back to when COVID started. So all of my single life for these past almost 2 years, all of my post-COVID life has pretty much been like that. I'm totally exhausted when I get home. I have no social life. I'm not going to do anything. Occasionally, I'll have a dinner or movie with friends planned, but again, few and far between. And again, I'm not being proactive about that because I'm exhausted when I get home. I eat a bunch. I probably eat too much. This is my unhealthy cheat meal. And then the worst part is I sleep super late on Saturdays. And I used to be totally okay with this because I wake up so early every weekday morning to do morning radio. And I'm like, hey, I'm catching up on my sleep. The problem is that I do feel better and I do get a lot of sleep on those Saturday mornings, but I never recover from that. So on Saturdays, I never really get my energy back up. I get up and it's almost like half of a normal day for me is gone. So I'm less productive. And this past weekend, I just was so lackadaisical. It was so unlike me. Like I didn't want to do anything. I had all these things planned, whether it's things I need to do around the house, whether it's filming one of these videos, editing one of these videos, doing other work for my 9-to-5, quote unquote. And I didn't want to do anything. And I think we all have these moments, and some of us, I think, that are struggling mental health-wise have a lot more of them, especially recently, than we actually have good days, where I don't want to use the word depressed. That I was not in a depression. I've been depressed clinically, so that's not what it was. But I didn't have the motivations that I normally have. And I look back and I realize that I've had more of these types of weekends over the past year and a half or so than I'm really comfortable with. And while I push myself really hard to make sure I'm still productive and all those things, and most of the time I do tend to push past those feelings, I'll be honest with you, I kind of just want to do nothing a lot of the times because I work myself so hard during the week. And then comes the Sunday, and Sunday's usually my really productive day. Like I do wake up relatively early. I do work. I work out. Again, I didn't work out that whole past weekend. And I basically had another day that was exactly the same, not doing anything. I didn't even muster up to go to a meeting. Like usually when I have nothing and I can't bring myself to work out, can't bring myself to shoot a video, do anything for social media, anything like that, I can at least go to a meeting, read. I talk all the time about how I'm like reading more and I've got this, big challenge for myself and I've been motivated to do it and I've been pushing through it. None of that, just absolutely none of that. And I can hear the responses coming already, so I'm going to address them now. I know that some of you are going to respond, don't be so hard on yourself. You need to take those R&R days and all that stuff. And I don't disagree with you. And by the way, another portion of what you might say to me is you need these times because you do push yourself hard and you do need to take that for your health to be better. And you are right. You're not wrong. But I have created kind of a standard for myself, and the standard is not just for me because I'm ambitious to attain my goals. It is largely motivated by that, but it is also, if you've heard anything I've said here on this channel, it is to keep me sober, because you've heard the age-old phrase, idle hands in the devil's playground. I am bound for my worst when I am unproductive, when I am not doing those things. And I have a huge fear of just getting caught up in a cycle of doing the same things over and over again. I think about how am I going to further my social life? It's been a rut or whatever, and I kind of chalked it up to COVID and the world being all screwed up and being newly single, but it's been almost 2 years. And I'm a big believer, as you know of, if something needs to change, I need to change it. So what I'm doing is I'm thinking about the things that I need to do differently so that I don't have these rut weekends where I just do nothing and I'm totally unproductive. One day is not bad. One Friday night is not bad. I can't look up. I just can't look up after 2.5 full days of a weekend and have done nothing and have let my commitments, and look, I didn't miss a birthday or anything crazy like that. I did not show up for work, but my commitments are doing stuff like this. My commitments are getting my exercise in and going to meetings, and I haven't been meeting all those commitments. And I say right now that I'm fully sober and I'm okay, but I know how this stuff works. It's been almost 10 years for me. And if enough more of these weekends were to happen, I could very likely see a relapse in my future. And I just have to be real about that. Before you say I'm being too hard on myself, I have to be real about this because it is life or death. A slip can be life or death for someone like me. That is the reality. So I have to be better. And it's not just, I got to push myself through these things and make myself do these things. It's, I got to stop putting off things that I'm just like, don't want to do for whatever reason. And to do that, I have to make changes in my life so that I can better commit to those things, so I can better execute those things. So I have to ask myself, what do I have to do to not sleep till 11 a.m. on a Saturday morning? What do I have to change during my regular week? What do I have to change so that I'm not worrying about my committal to reading and meditating and journaling every night? And sometimes these things are simple. For me, a couple of these things might be as simple as just don't watch as much TV when I get home. And I set that as an incentive for myself, as a goal to live a productive, highly productive day where I stay sober and I'm a positive impact on my job and society, that I can come home and clear my brain and watch TV. Could I erase 30 minutes off of that to get to bed earlier and to make sure I get my reading in and my journaling and my meditating? Yeah, I think I can. But this is part of it. And if you know anyone who has some good sobriety in your life, these are the things we have to do. We have to commit and have people that are going to hold us accountable. That's why I'm doing this, so that you can hear me say it, that we can catch up on it, and that hopefully it'll help me continue to do it. Because I can't keep having these weekends. I have to be more proactive about my social life, whether that's going to different meetings at different places so I can meet new friends, or me reaching out more regularly to friends who I'm not hearing. What do I need to change about me that's going to make me more accessible to the life that I want? I'm a big believer in certain laws of attraction. Like if I want to attract a certain type of person, I'm not just talking about romantically, I'm talking about friends too, or I just want to see my friends more, I need to be the type of guy that they want to reach out to more. And I'm not saying I've done anything or that I've become a bad guy or a bad friend or anything like that, but like everybody has their lives, and part of that is, again, I just need to be more proactive. I need to be more committal to things. I need to not retreat, right? I probably should have said that from the beginning. I have a tendency, and this led really highly to my drug and alcoholism, specifically my opiate and heroin addiction, to retreat, to go inward, to back away from the world, especially when I live such an outward life in my job Monday through Friday, and usually a lot more than Monday through Friday, right? So again, I just need to do those things that will help me keep from the instinct of retreating. You've heard of the different things that might lead to bad decisions in recovery, like being tired or being hungry. I think HALT is the acronym they use. So you want to avoid those things, because I do it. Goodness gracious, I do it. Like the times when I miss on my meal plan, like I have a cheat meal when I'm not supposed to on like a Wednesday or Thursday, it's typically because I'm like super tired, or I let myself get too hungry, or I'm stressed out about something. And the point is, I have to be more proactive about setting up my life in a way, and I'm perfectly capable of doing it. There's nothing holding me back. I don't have a bunch of kids running around that need my attention, and I hope to have that one day. So again, I need to nip these things in the bud now if I ever think I'm going to be able to do those other things. So anyways, this is me just coming clean on some stuff that I need to do better on. I need to get to meetings more consistently. I need to get to bed earlier. I need to put things higher up on my list of their importance in my life that I don't want to as much sometimes. It's usually not the fun things. I need to get those things up higher earlier in the week when I have the energy, so that when I get later into the week, I don't just retreat into a shell and get away from the world and feel bad and wonder where all the time went. So anyways, that's kind of just where I'm at. I wanted to come clean on those things. I think I'm going to be okay, but I like to nip these things in the bud. I appreciate you letting me vent on it. And now, let's get the mail. Got a great piece of mail here. It actually is from a little while back. I wanted to make sure that I could share it with the person who sent it to me, because you know at the end of these videos, I always say, feel free to DM me. We can have a private conversation. Well, this person DM'd me on Instagram, and I wanted to check. It was such a good piece of feedback that I wanted to check and make sure, because I always say, you know, I'll keep it completely anonymous if you DM me. I wanted to make sure it was okay with them before sharing. They did say it was okay with them. That being said, I'm not going to share their full name or Instagram handle or anything like that, because I want to encourage, if you want to DM, please feel free to do the same. But they were okay with me sharing it. This came from Mason. Again, Mason was sparked up by seeing the John Mulaney video. Look, I've made a lot of comments on it. I'm glad that it's gotten so much traction, a lot more than most of my others. If it helps people and helps people see more, I think that's great. But anyways, that's how he found me. Mason says, hey man, your video about John Mulaney got recommended to me on YouTube. Good to see the algorithms working for me. And I love stand-up, so I clicked on it. I wanted to see if I could find out more about his situation. I'm still in the middle of it, but I had to pause it and reach out so I could let you know that I really like and respect the way that you break down addiction. I'm 19, and 2 years ago, I lost my dad to an overdose. He was an addict and in and out of my life until he passed. The way you explain an addict brain really opened my eyes to what he could have been going through and what I should look out for in the future because of genetic disposition. I just wanted to let you know that you gained another fan, and I really hope you keep making your content. Wow. Obviously, you can see why I wanted to share that message. First of all, just totally blown away that this is coming from a 19-year-old. Aren't you? Wow. Just the self-awareness, the intelligence, not to mention what this guy Mason has obviously been through. It just, when I got that, it just totally took my breath away. And I've been thinking about this message and Mason ever since he sent it. First of all, thank you, Mason, obviously, for the kind words. I'm really glad you found it. But I just can't imagine going through what you're going through, Mason. And you guys have heard me say it many times before. My situation is not unique. My story is not special. This is a special story. Someone who's 19 and has had a father who's in and out of their life because of addiction, who is willing to be honest about the situation, able to, which is just a gift from God at that age, and who is seeking out purposefully knowledge to make himself better. Just totally blown away. I didn't have to live without my dad in my life. And, I had my dad in my life, and I still ended up totally fucked up, right? So Mason is navigating life, basically not having his dad in his life. Some might say even worse, to be in and out with a bad drug problem. You can imagine the type of damage that can do to a young kid. And I just think this obviously brings up the big point for me is just how important I think it is for all kids to have a father in their life. I really believe that a father figure, preferably the actual father, I think is really important, especially for boys. I'm a big believer in that. I know you might not be, but I think it's important because I lived through it. And while me and my dad's relationship was contentious, and it wasn't all just because I was an addict and made bad choices and bad decisions and had bad judgment, he made a lot of mistakes too. And you've seen the video of us together. He clearly owns up to those. But I had enough trouble getting through life with that genetic predisposition, and I had a dad in my life, and I had a dad who knew what to look out for. I didn't have a dad who was in and out. And then to deal with the loss on top of that is just such, and I've been through the grief with losing my mother. Again, I was in my mid-30s when I lost my mom. I was prepared for it. I had my whole life to prepare for it. I knew it was coming. She was at peace with it. It was her choice beyond a certain amount that was obviously not chosen by her. But I just want to commend Mason for what he's been through and to have the self-awareness and the foresight to want to gain more knowledge, to get his self-awareness to a place where he doesn't want to make the same mistakes. It just absolutely blows me away. So when you start saying things about the younger generation and what the hell do these kids know and they're screwing everything up, remember guys like Mason, okay, 19 years old. Mason, please keep reaching out. I want to know how you're doing. And to anyone else who's around Mason's age, please feel free to reach out. I love that young people, especially people who have had it a lot harder than I have, are reaching out and are watching this and are thinking about this stuff, like really being present with this stuff. I'm blown away and I'm thankful. This message was a gift from God for me. So thank you, Mason. That's all the time we got for today. If you would like to be part of the mail, you can, of course, DM like Mason did. I will keep that completely private unless I think it's as good as Mason's was. I will ask you before sharing it. Anything a comment that goes on one of my public posts or one of these videos, that is fair game. You can, of course, comment right here on the YouTube video. And right now I'm still seeing all of them, so that's great. We'll see you next time. Hey family, if you like what we're doing here and you want to see more, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Share it with someone who you think might benefit from watching this, and feel free to comment below. Love.